there's no way we do this podcast without asking about LeBron.
Yeah.
So you were part of a different. You worked with him early. To my understanding, the first 2 gigs you were with him, you didn't even talk to him, right?
The first few gigs, so I actually worked with him once he started coming down here. Once he signed with the Heat, I was with him every season at some point, but through like either Nike or Beats by Dre. It was never directly with him or the Heat.
Those gigs, like, yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I've never worked directly with the Heat. I've been in the arena, I've done shit around the Heat, but I've never. It's always through like a third party, either it be Nike, Beats by Dre, through Gil Green and 305 Films when they would do like the Heat intros, like different things like that. So I've always had access to them. Even to like them using my props. They used They used that Cadillac that's outside. They used my old BMW that I used to have, and some of my props for when they celebrated 35 years. That they did the whole Uncle Al intro.
Yeah.
So like that whole thing, there's like a whole base wall. There's two white old schools. Those are mine. The cell phone that Udonis has them is holding in like the 2 Live crew cover. That's mine.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of magazines of like the old Heat programs when they show like the Tyler Hero like teen magazine. There's a bunch of other like vintage ones. Those are all mine.
Wow.
So like even like tapped in at that stuff, like I'm involved, but it's never directly with them. You know what I mean? But with Braun, it was one of those things where like every time he obviously when he came, Beats by Dre and Nike came with him. I used to work with this other agency that had them as clients, so they'd always bring me in to like shoot stuff. I got in with Beats by Dre through Karen Civil, which Karen Civil was a big
shout out Karen Civil, huge.
Yeah, she was big in the hip hop shit back in the 2000s. I'm not sure what she's up to these days, but we got connected through like working with Cash Money, and she was the one that was doing like all the Wayne stuff when Wayne was in jail and all that, and then she got hired at Beats by Dre and she brought me to Beats. And introduced me to Omar Johnson and some of the team over there, and it was literally like the core group of like when Beats by Dre started, when they were just like hemorrhage money and you would see Beats by Dre everywhere, and like I got to go to the World Cup because of Omar Johnson and Beats by Dre. I went to Brazil twice. In like 2 months. And then like I took over for Beats for the first open, like as the teams were landing there, flew back to Miami, and then like 45 days later I went back with LeBron for the final game, and I got to sit in on the final game. Bron went up to the Nike suite, and we were on the 5th row with all the German management. So it's crazy. So when they won, that was the year that Germany won. They all ran to our corner, so it was like crazy, like at the World Cup in Brazil. And fine, I'm not a sports guy. Like, I don't care about sports.
Wow.
So, like, all my friends here was like, bro, what a waste of a ticket. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's, like, fucking looking at the game. I'm filming everybody. The game's happening over here. I'm over here, like, taking pictures
No way,
and
you're
shit.
the people. That's funny.
So, it's funny, bro. But yeah, I got him his first year. So, like I said, I would always see him in all the different jobs. But I'm not friendly in the sense where I'm like, hey, I'm so-and-so. Like, I just go and do my job and keep it moving. Like, I know that everyone's trying to talk to them. Like, always.
You act like a fan, you get treated like a fan.
Yeah, you know,
Cool.
I preach that. So it's one of those things where, like, eventually we were doing, like, an MVP thing, actually, at my office. I used to share an office with Rudy from Ink Pro in Wynwood. And the agency that I used to work with, they're like, hey, we need a wall to do, like, an MVP Nike mural. So they rented our wall for a year, so we got a check for that. And then this artist from Miami came and did the mural, and it was for LeBron because it was when he got his MVP in 2013, I think it was.
Yeah.
And one of LeBron's guys was there, and we were just talking shit or whatever. And he's like, man, I see you at all the other jobs and all this other shit. And then I ran into him somewhere else. And then he's like, man, like, he didn't realize who I was the same guy on the internet. When he was like, wait, you're this guy that shoots all the chicks? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. He's like, oh, no shit. But he kind of realized because so that day exactly, this big model chick, she's huge now, I'm not gonna say who she is, pulled up to pick me up to go grab lunch. So when he's like, that's how he peeped who I was, because like he was trying to like understand like the situation.
Connect the dots.
We ate, we came back. Somebody was sitting there was like, that's nothing. He's like, pull out your phone. So I like, obviously, like I had like I pulled up my Instagram and showed it to him. He's like, holy shit, I know exactly who you are. Fast forward, like anybody else, like, you know, hey, what's up, buddy? Every time I saw him. And then eventually, we did this job. It was called the 11-11 job. it was like LeBron dropping the 11s. They took over the 11 garage on Alton. Like, it was a whole thing. That same agency that I had done all those jobs for hired me to basically put the content team together for it. And LeBron was going to be there to do a meet and greet. And at that job, I was there the day prior, and some of the Nike guys were there, and they was like, yo, as a matter of fact, dude wants to meet you, yada, yada, yada. He heard that you're going to be here. I said, all right, cool. And then lucky enough, since I was on that day, I wasn't shooting anything. I was on a walkie. I think I was walking around with a GoPro just to get like behind the scenes of my guys working. I had like 7 or 8 guys working. And we heard the walkie, yo, LeBron's pulling up. So I tell the cameras, hey, LeBron's pulling up, whatever. He's in this truck, whatever. So when I got introduced to him, my cameras happened to shoot all that stuff. So I got to meet him that way, and I literally got my first handshake, my first what's up on photo and video because my guys were actually shooting him there. And it just kind of all happened organically that way. But that was kind of how like it worked. It all because I got that mural on the building, and it started connecting the dots through like that way.
And constant work, and then to the point where you went to Cleveland with him.
Yeah, so we did a couple things here in Miami. I left to Brazil for Beats by Dre. I was there for 48 hours and got flown back to be with him for the playoffs with the Heat, which was cool because back then I was shooting for Nike, I was shooting for Beats, and I was shooting for LeBron. So the same photo, just 3 different angles of the exact same setup. I just think for the Nike, I had to make sure it was wide enough to get the shoes. For Beats by Dre, I just had to make sure he had the headphones around his neck or on his head. And then for him, it was just like another lifestyle shot. So
we're going to put them. If I can find them all in post.
If you remind me, I'll send them to you.
Oh, for sure.
But I was triple dipping. So I was getting a check from each one from like that setup. So it was like it was a great setup for me.
Great. That's how good the work is, though. Because otherwise, people will be like, hey, wait a second.
And then I was with him in Vegas when he made the decision. Wow. They jumped on the airplane. They told me, hey, we're not going back to Miami. We're going to Cleveland. But we started to go to Brazil. So I flew from Vegas to Miami for a day, packed another bag, flew down to Brazil, met them in Brazil, and then got to shoot that whole shit down there where we went to the World Cup and everything that I had mentioned earlier. And then we went to Cleveland. And
did him or anybody in his team ever give you like a go-to pizza place to get pizza at late night in Cleveland? Because there ain't nothing else to do out there.
There ain't shit to do. Go get a slice and go home, buddy. Yeah, that was great. That was amazing. So LeBron's DJ, he was like my homie out there. Like, you know, LeBron's busy training.
Right.
You know, everyone else is on the business. Obviously, you got to hit up the party guy. One day, I hit him on a Friday. He's like, yo, what is there to do? He's like, are you in Cleveland or in Akron? I'm in Akron. He's like, go get a slice of pizza and go home, buddy. That's literally what he wrote to me.
Ooh, so Cleveland's the city. Akron's...
So Akron is like saying Miami and Hialeah.
Facts.
But like 45 minutes out. So
gotcha.
It's like, it's far, like you're on the highway, you see like 8 dead deer on the highway. Like it's like middle America shit. Like,
yeah.
You know, you're better off. Like I go to the parking lot of my hotel and there's deer walking around.